Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming.biz, a weekly roundup. Make sure you check out all the new week's news on our website, blockchaingaming.biz, and follow us on Twitter at BCGBiz. Today is Friday, the 1st of September, and I'm your host, Jenny Jordan, and with me is co-host John Jordan. Hi, John. How are you doing?
1st of September. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That came round.
Last
Good.
week you weren't here last week, or you were in
I was
Germany
recovering.
at Gamescom. Yeah. You were back. But...
I was back,
So
but
how was that? Tell us about Gamescom.
well, yes. I mean, I didn't go to Gamescom in terms of the actual event. Like 350,000 Germans go and play PC games. But there was some Web3. It wasn't. I mean, there's a decent amount of Web3 sort of stuff going on. Sort of people meeting up in hotels and that sort of stuff. So that was more what I was doing. There were actually quite a few sort of evening events, sort of meetups and stuff. So Stardust.
You went
and
on the Saga event.
Oh yes, and Saga. So a new blockchain called Saga. They hired this really cool boat, and they had like a little conference on there. I didn't go to the conference, but they had like an evening, a couple of evening soirees where they went up the river. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's sort of an interesting tech. Whether we need another L1 blockchain, we will wait and see. But yeah, they've got a particular take, as all blockchains do, and they reckon they've got loads of games signed up. But we will, I guess, we'll see over the next few months whether they appear on our big blockchain game list with loads of games.
Talking of which, yeah, I was going to go into that this week. We had an update on the website about the big list. We've added 39 games during the month of August, and I've just been reflecting really. So there's been a couple of sort of bigger titles revealed recently. It's been Ubisoft's Champions Tactics. It was Zynga's Sugar Town. Then we've also had
Rec League,
exactly, from Enways, and even sort of looking back a bit further, there was Maple Story Universe by Nexon, and CCP had a back in March or April. So in the last sort of 6 months, anyway, there's been some sort of fairly significant titles revealed in the blockchain gaming space. And yet you still hear this sort of thing of blockchain gaming. It's all over now. It's all AI and so. So what should you sort of make of that?
Yeah, I mean, there is. It's almost become cliche now. There is this whole thing that people have been pointing out. That obviously it takes a couple of years and $10 million to make a sort of any sort of decent game, and then you put blockchain into it, it makes it more complicated. So there is this sort of process. I mean, the next podcast that will come out next week, I just spoke to them yesterday, was with the CEO of Rec League, and they're a well-known developer anyway. They've been around for a decade or so, and they've been working on that game. So that's a NFT based sort of a fighting game to some degree. They've been working on the game for like conceptually like 2.5 years, sort of working on it for 2 years. It's interesting that they've been doing that very quietly behind the scenes. So a lot of blockchain games, I think one of the sort of problems with blockchain games is they tend to build everything in the open. So like, the Twitter update is, we've just created a new, it's almost too much information, but they kind of feel that it's how they keep the community engaged. Like every tiny little thing gets announced, which no other games up to this point haven't done that. I mean, games do most of their development secretly, not even announcing that what they're working on. And then 6 months or maybe a year before the game comes out, they sort of start announcing stuff. So blockchain games have sort of been in that sort of problem where they've been sort of talking about stuff too much, and then people get bored because it's very hard to sort of keep that excitement going for
sort of early on, and then
and
tired of it.
And obviously that that sort of worked out in the sort of bull run of crypto, when everyone was like, "Oh, this game looks amazing," even though it's just a sort of video or a white paper, and I'm going to buy the NFT. So there is that's the sort of tension that blockchain games have had. But now, I mean, I was always probably too optimistic. I thought 2023 would be quite a big year for blockchain games as a sort of sector in blockchain. Now that's not really happened as I expected. Stuff has got pushed back, and we are seeing games coming out now. So I still think that that sort of trend that I thought was going to happen is maybe 6 months to a year late. But at the end of this year, we've got Hunters on Chain sort of out to some degree, in sort of still sort of some test stuff going on there. We've got Mojo Melee, we've got NFL Rivals we've been playing a lot of. We've got Nitro Nation just sort of done its first sort of pre-season that's come out. we've got quite a lot of stuff with Yuga. We've got Metalcore. We've got Shardbound.
Gala
Fable.
Games has had some releases.
Gala Game, yeah, just put out a video. We're just having a look at the Epic Game Store, and there's like 52, I think, games that are now listed. Most of those aren't out yet, but there's 52 blockchain games listed on the Epic Game Store coming out at some point in the next year or so. So you're starting to get this momentum going, and I think, that's the interesting sort of bit. So, at Gamescom, it wasn't like there wasn't any sort of big trends. I just spoke to people who were making blockchain games, and the ones who are still in it, the ones who are still doing it. It's hard to do. There's no money to. You don't make those games now and get suddenly 100,000 people following you on Twitter. It's a hard market. So the people who are doing it now are the people who really believe that allowing players to own in-game items is going to make better games, better communities. Obviously, they think it's going to make their companies more profitable in the long term. They're not doing it for altruistic reasons in most cases. Some are, but it just takes like everything, it just takes a lot longer. And obviously,
obviously that sort of crazy hype, that's not sustainable, is it, forever? So in a way, the remarkable thing might actually be that these projects have kept on going despite current and recent market conditions, and that we are actually seeing games released, and like Retro coming out later, Block Lords, Metalcore, all the big titles.
Exactly, and I do think those people, everyone believes it in sort of different ways. So I don't think there's not a one size fits all sort of way of how blockchain game developers or game designers think about using blockchains. Some are super, everything's going to be on chain, and that's a particular sort of thing. I find those sort of interesting. You do as well, but not everyone wants to stick everything on chain. Some people just want to have you just own an NFT, and you can trade it. So I think that everyone who is in that space now sort of really believes it, because if they didn't, they as you said, would have got out and started making AI based tools or something like that. Because there's always easy money at a VC level, relatively easy money. And blockchain at the moment is definitely not that. So I think that's the true believers are the only ones who are left.
So another game that we've been looking at a bit recently is the Gunzilla games Off the Grid.
Off the Grid.
They have released a gameplay trailer. You quite like that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I'd not looked at them for a while. So they've actually been releasing a whole bunch of sort of narrative trailers. So they're very heavy on creative. So the director of District 9 and the new Gran Turismo film, whose name escapes me, Neil Blomkamp, I think. So he's one of their creative directors there. So they're very into film. So film's obviously a big part of it. So they've been doing these little sort of in-game engine sort of trailers to sort of give some backstory and stuff. And they sort of had this funny sort of slightly taking the Mickey out of some of the how people sort of deal with sort of social media and games. But they were sort of talking a little bit about what's going on there, and it's it's all about basically it's a shooter, sort of battle royale sort of type game, and all the characters, the basic guns are everyone. They call them NFT hybrid limbs or something. Anyway, so as your character doesn't your limbs are robotic limbs, so you have robotic legs. And you have and your gun and your arms are robotic arms with built-in sort of guns and this sort of stuff. So the NFTs are these limbs that you sort of so it's sort of sort of funny, sort of strong visual meme. And they're starting to build out around that. So they're interesting. They're supposedly going to be one of the first, or if not the first, console game as blockchain integration. I'm still a little bit unsure how that's going to work. I'm trying to find out more from them. So hopefully over the next few months we'll see that. But I just kind of think as I say, it's all everyone's approaching the market in slightly different ways. And obviously over time, when people work out sort of what works in terms of what the audience want, how do they want their NFTs, how do they want on-chain stuff, do they not? Then we'll start to see a bit more sort of templating of how you make these games, which is sort of just how the technology goes. But at the moment, it's really a bit of a free-for-all in terms of how you design these games and how you sort of get them to work.
Yeah, exactly. But that's also the sort of exciting part of it, isn't it? Yeah. So if you want to know more about which games we are excited about, you can check out our most anticipated list, which sits on our website. We'll probably link to it in the show notes as well. In other news then this week, I'm trying to so Mystic Moose has launched an NFT marketplace for their Mojo Melee, they also got this Prime Gaming promotion going on. So now it's moved into phase 2. So if you're a member of Amazon Prime, you can claim free NFT through there. What else? I've played Come to Us minigame party. That's on the XPLA blockchain. It's a casual mobile game. And
a lot of NFL Rivals.
Played a lot of NFL Rivals again.
Yeah.
Sort of rediscovered my love for that game. What else? What have you been playing, John?
Mainly NFL Rivals. Been doing a lot of data, looking to see how the pricing of the in-app NFTs relates to the pricing of the same NFT on the marketplace. So
obviously, you've done a lot of that, haven't you?
a bit too much. So obviously, Apple and Google take 30% of any revenue through their app stores. Mythical Games said they weren't going to add a flat 30% fee, which they haven't. But in most cases, you end up paying a lot more than 30% if you're going through the app compared to doing it on the marketplace. So I won't go into too much detail because I've gone into too much detail on that, but it's sort of interesting. I mean, that game's interesting because it is a sort of high quality free to play mobile game with all the licenses in there. The NFL season's just about to go live, so we'll see how that sort of pans out. And obviously, because it's a blockchain game, we can sort of see how we can sort of track transactions. We can see how NFTs are being minted. We can see how NFTs are being traded. Just about to surpass, by the time this video's live, it will have done $1 million of trading value, which is not very much, I should point out. But equally, it's sort of not nothing. And obviously, that's sort of over the next few months, we'll be keeping an eye on how that is playing out. Because I think that clearly, if you can get
how would that compare, sorry to interrupt, with other kind of bigger blockchain title game,
Well, it's not really. Like So Rare will have done hundreds of millions of dollars over the period of time. So you have to be a little bit careful with the comparison, because if stuff's been around for a while through the bull market, then obviously Axie Infinity, I can't remember how many $1 billion it did. But obviously at the moment it's not doing anything. So you sort of have to take the time into consideration. So. But there's that. What else have we got going on? Yuga Labs have been announcing a bunch of stuff. So for their heavy metal sort of game, they've announced this sort of new riff thing that's going to expand that out, and there's going to be a whole bunch of materials from that. They were announcing about their new game you've just been looking into. They're doing a hookup with Faraway.
Open beta's coming.
So the open beta for that. Yes, that's interesting with our friends at we say that Faraway Games. So they're very active in being sort of doing co-development around that sort of stuff. It's just I think a lot of sort of momentum sort of happening. What else have we done? Hunters on Chain just did its second NFT mint. So they're sort of gearing up for some quite big sort of marketing pushes and stuff on that game.
Yeah. Good. We've also got the event coming up, Pocket Gamer Connect in Helsinki. So we have some of the features going up on the website with the speakers on the blockchain gaming track there. So we've got Paul Flanagan from...
Yeah, some good speakers. Paul Flanagan from Nitro Nation. So he should have a lot to say, shouldn't he? We've also got...
Gary Plana from Supremacy Games. We have...
Got Patrick from Rogue Nation, who I met up with at Gamescom.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, it's got mobile. They got their sort of first version of their mobile game out. So Moonlit Games. Very interested, very experienced team. Really know what they're doing. Doing a sort of a roguelite mobile game based with NFTs and stuff. So
That's right. 12th to 13th of September in Helsinki. If you want to catch some of that action. And I think with that, we're going to close this week's Roundup, but we'll see you all next week, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Oh, and before, we've got to say your hat.
Oh, yes.
Let's do that next week. Angry Dynamite
Labs.
Angry Dynamite Labs,
German.
Yes. Yeah.
Project.
We'll talk about that next week. See you next week.
Bye-bye.